Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding this hearing. One of the issues, we have many tribes in the Northwest, and my colleague from New Mexico asked about, well, many of my colleagues asked about the general welfare doctrine, but I'm particularly interested in the area of education because Native Americans have a lower high school graduation rate. In fact, I think it's something like 23.5% do not complete high school or the equivalency of high school, so juxtaposed to, say, 4.7% of whites or 14% of Asians, a whole host of other segmentations. So when it comes to this issue of taxation and what is a general welfare or social benefit program, you can have something like tuition, which is, I certainly applaud Native American tribes across America for supporting continued education for their members. I think this is a very, very positive sign. But my understanding is we have a lot of mixed signals here so that you can have tuition that's covered under this social benefit or general welfare idea, but then books or room and board are not. And so why is there a difference, and what do you think we need to do to clarify this? So either Professor Robertson or President Porter.
Senator, I think that you have hit the nail on the head when it comes to the challenge of administering in this area. And that's why I don't think there should ever be a tax question when it comes to providing backpacks or pencils to children in our nation or any Indian nation in the United States. We are, in many cases, not continuing education, we're starting it. Yeah. In our case, our language is almost gone, and we're trying to reinstill language immersion school. We're trying to rise our children in a way of life that Americans take for granted. But it's the universal solution to our problems when we can provide a strong education. And we have a multitude of issues of potential tax threat, and even on the financing side, building schools, finding ways in which we can provide that. We need to make sure that those opportunities are protected so that we can move forward with our investments.
Yeah, I agree with President Porter. I would just sort of amplify that I think the benefit of the exclusion applies at a multitude of levels of education. It's not simply elementary education or secondary, but a lot of tribes are providing monies to send their members away to study medicine, to study law, to study business, to study engineering so that they can come back and help rebuild the tribe's health base, infrastructure, political institutions, that sort of thing. And all of this is seen as being for the good of the community within those communities more than for the good of the individual who then otherwise would be taxed on the receipt of a benefit.
And so is this, I would just assume that, aside just from compliance, that the complexity of knowing what is and what isn't is pretty hard to figure out. Is that correct?
Yes, it is under the status quo, and I don't think the service disagrees with that, as I understand from Commissioner Ingram's testimony, which is why they're working with tribes, and I think this is creditable, to try and figure out a way to simplify these rules. If not, eliminate them, which is President Porter's suggestion, which would simplify them.
Ms. Ingram, is there a simplification on this?
Well, as I mentioned before with Chairman Baucus, we're very cognizant, which is why we've reached out for input, and one of the categories we've asked specifically for input on is the area of education, as well as the area of cultural practices and events and issues. We have tried over the years to figure out how to take the principles that were largely crafted in the state and local government environment and translate those to the more complex situation involving Indian tribal community. And we have asked for and continue to receive a rich amount of input about what kinds of activities people are doing, want to do, and how these are either the same as what we currently allow for states, and we need to be consistent with that, or to what extent it needs to be different. And we're trying to listen to that input to figure out what to do next.
Do you think there's a difference between tuition and room and board?
I think there is both some information and misinformation about where we are in agreement or disagreement. One of the things we are doing, in addition to the consultation sessions, is tightening some of our coordination within our own organization, and see if we can't eliminate some of the fact patterns where we know already, without further discussion, that we should not be questioning. I think this discussion will create areas, we hope, where we can provide, the hope is some broader, simpler ways for both of us to address this and all the other issues that are being raised.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.